Okay. We are rolling. Are you ready for this?
Okay, let's
Okay.
go.
Awesome. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Essence of You. I am Steph Lokelani, your host today. And we are here with my good friend, Shannon White-Deane, who is a leadership and disability consultant based in Boise, Idaho. She is a certified Gallup Strengths Coach and helps leaders and organizations build inclusive, strengths-based cultures where everyone can contribute and thrive. And according to her son, she is a certified single mom. So certified in both Gallup Strengths Coach and being a single mom. I love that. I like to introduce people and how we met. So Shannon and I met, has it been 5 years?
I honestly don't know. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute, but we met. So I was on the board for Kessler Keener Foundation, and we were hosting an event for Native students and sharing video content that I had created about each Native student. We told their story, and one of the big pieces of each video was asking each of the students what they want non-Native people to know about them. And so it was a big event that we hosted at BSU. And our mutual friend Leanne brought you, and that's how we met.
Right.
And you both ended up staying. We had lunch to serve, and so you stayed for lunch, and we got to know each other. And then we didn't really keep in touch beyond that.
Leanne brought me to another event as well. I'm trying to remember what it was. I know there was like two things.
Was it Waisili that we both ended up at? I know we were both involved in that.
Right.
It'll
come to us.
It'll come to us. It absolutely will, yes. And then earlier this year, we started connecting again for Leanne's birthday.
Right.
Yes. That's right, because you made it a point. Tell me about this. So at the start of the year, you said that you wanted to do some things different with your life. What is that?
I wanted to just make real time for friends and family, just because I feel like I'm super busy, and I wanted to have a goal of really taking the time out to meet with friends and family. And so I reached out to Leanne, and then she's like, hey, let's bring Steph. And like, hey, well, let's do it. And we ended up at the hot springs.
We did. That was such a wonderful evening.
It was.
And then a few weeks later, we went to a Nappy Roots concert together.
I still crack up about that.
I do too. That was such a trip. I felt quite a bit old doing that.
You and me both. And we left early.
We did, but that's okay. That's okay. It was well past our bedtimes. Yeah. My animals needed me. That's always my excuse, and it's always very true. We were talking earlier about running the Spud Run, which as of this recording is in 1 week. It's on Saturday. Yeah, 1 week from today. By the time this one releases, if I'm thinking correctly, it'll release like 2 weeks after the run.
Cool.
So tell me about this, because I'm running it as well, but I'm doing the half marathon on Saturday, which I have not been training for. I will be the first one to say that, and we'll just see how that goes.
All right. Yeah, the Spud Run. So I moved to Boise about 10 years ago, and I had been doing 5Ks in Alaska and thought, oh, well, I'll do them down here too. And so it's been, I think, I don't know if we did it 2016, but 2017, my younger son and I did it. And it's a way for me something in the spring to look forward to, get back into shape. And I had started this community in Alaska, just inspiring other people to get out and get active. And then I wanted to continue the same thing down here in Boise. So while it's still cool, since I have acclimated to Idaho, but I still can't walk when it's 80 degrees.
No.
So we start early. We start before the race, since it takes me a long time to get to the finish, but I eventually make it because the races start at 10. I think your 10K starts at 10. Oh, no, you're doing the half.
No, I'm doing the half. I
Yeah,
think
so
we
you
start
start
at
earlier.
7. Yeah, 7 or 8.
So,
So I have a shoot that morning too.
oh boy.
And so I've scheduled one of my contractors to be there instead of me, but I still, because it's a shoot and I'm the business owner, I'm very aware of the timing. So I think we're at 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. And then so the 10K and the 5K start at 10 a.m., but I will probably start at 8 a.m. So I'm not the last person in, because that's frustrating, when you've worked really hard to do this race. And then I'm coming in with the marathoners, the stragglers are the marathoners. And
Would be
so
me.
it breaks my heart that they are packing up. They're just packing up the race. And not everybody has made it across the finish line. And 2 years ago, when I crossed, they were out of 5K medals.
Oh.
So I got a half marathon one, but I felt like I walked a half marathon. So it's kind of funny. It's a little fitting, but I wish they would, respect all of the runners and wait till they cross the line, because it's a lot of work.
I agree. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, not just physically, but mentally as well. And not just on that day, leading up to it. It takes a lot to convince yourself, either every day or however often you train, to get out there and train. And then to convince yourself, okay, I am doing this today. I'm going to wake up. I paid the money. I'm going to be there. Because there have been, I don't think I've skipped out on any halves, but I've skipped out on some 5Ks because I wake up, especially the YMCA holiday run around Christmas time when it's cold. I'm like, yeah, no, I do not need to run that today. But you put a lot of effort into reaching that. And so, I think to clean up before people are done is rude and disrespectful.
Yeah. And you're lucky to, you worked hard to get that baked potato at the end.
Absolutely.
And there might not be one there for you.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I run Roby. So with Roby, my goal is to always get in on time to get a potato. And I've told you this. But what happens is they have a spectator pass that you have to pay for. And that's for anybody not running. They want to come in and meet their friends. That's great. That is awesome. It's a whole big party at the end of the race. But those spectators are eating the potatoes. And if you don't come in within a good time frame, those potatoes are gone. And I'm also racing for beer. But that and the beer are the only things I'm racing for. And when they're not there, I'm like, guys, I just did the hardest half marathon in the Pacific Northwest. And we're out of potatoes.
Yeah. Not cool.
Not cool. And I don't want any more water.
Yeah.
You have recently won an award called the Paul Gleason Award.
Correct.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it is a national award. And I work with a bunch of excellent secret keepers, because they didn't tell me I was nominated. And for two, they didn't tell me I was actually chosen for one of the awards. So this one was for innovation and initiative within the Wildland Fire leadership principles. And so it was for bringing in Clifton strengths, culture within Wildland Fire, and then also really focusing on mental health and making both of them a priority.
Why is it such a priority in that business?
Because it's high stakes and there's a lot going on all at the same time, and they all know that I love strengths. And even though it's not my regular job, my regular job is Wildland Fire budget analyst. Although I truly believe in strengths and focusing on what you do best, and especially when it's high stakes, there's a lot going on for you to lean in on your strengths and the strengths of others at those critical times. Can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. And so what got you into strengths training, Gallup strengths training?
It was a long time ago now. I took a course. It was Women in Leadership, and it was like a 3-day course. And it was just part of the course was the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And then when I took it, I just immediately fell in love with it. I thought it was such a nice, it was different because you can, it focuses on your work life and your home life, and it focuses on what you do well, not what you don't do so well, because you're only going to get so good at what you suck at.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I fell in love with it, and then I brought it back. At the time I was working for BLM, Boise District, and I was on an employee committee, and shared that with them, and they liked it as well. So much so we brought it to leadership, and then they liked it as well. And so I brought it to the whole district, and then it became a strengths culture there. And then when I transferred back to the National Park Service, I brought that with me and started all over again with a whole set of folks.
That's amazing. That is really, really neat. I don't want to say studied the strengths because I haven't studied them, but I've looked into them deeper because of you and because of Leanne. So what are your top 5 strengths?
It is responsibility, learner, developer, achiever, and arranger.
Ooh. Okay, I have similar ones. Mine are achiever, learner, intellection, responsibility, and positivity.
I see the positivity.
Aw, thank
Shining.
you.
And I have strength in me, I must admit.
Where does positivity sit in yours?
It's not too terribly low. It's 13.
Okay.
I thought it would be higher, but I've since realized my other strengths definitely show up more.
I get that. I think the bottom, which is what, 32 or 33?
34.
34? Okay, so 34 is harmony. And when I saw that, I was like, what the
A lot of people have that same reaction. They're like, empathy? Why do I have empathy? It's 34.
Yeah, I don't remember where empathy is, but it's higher. But I was like, why can't that be even the top 5 or 8?
Mm-hmm.
I should actually look this up because I really don't remember. But it was empathy and then harmony, of course. Really, I'm a harmonious person. I try to bring people together.
You can do those things. They just take more time and energy out of you. So if you have to show up like that all day, you'll just be drained. You'll just want to go home and go to bed. Whereas if you get to show up as your top 5 strengths, they give you energy and you could just do it all day long.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it that way. Well, that makes sense. Huh. Oh, we could dive deep on that.
Yeah, we could talk for hours.
Yeah. What is your bottom one? What is your 34?
34 is strategic.
Really?
Yeah.
You seem like a strategic person, but maybe I don't know that.
Well, that's just, the strength. I lead with executing and strategic thinking, but strategic is number 34.
How do you feel about that?
Not so good. Like that. I was like, man, I thought I was strategic, but I lean in on my other strengths, my other strategic strengths. So
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as you said too, that it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just takes more energy from you. So looking at this being strategic, that could take a ton of energy on your end.
Right.
And that might be why it ended up on the bottom. And I'm really like, if I were to dissect why harmony is at the bottom, I think everybody should just get along all the time. And most of the time that is just not the case. And so it takes a lot of work for me to try to, like, if I'm in a situation where we need to settle things down or be a little more harmonious, it takes a lot of energy for me to try to make that work, especially in a leadership position or even as the oldest of 4 kids. That especially is the hardest part for me, is trying to keep that harmony. I think I had to do that so much as a child that when I finally took the strengths test, I was like, no, my body is done. I am so done with this.
So yeah, my oldest son has harmony as number 1. So.
Oh, wow.
It's really fun to see. So I'm like, oh, it's like, I see it shining through.
How does that show up? Tell me, how does harmony show up in a person? Your son, for example.
He's always looking at at both sides of the situation and looking for common ground. And sometimes I'm like, you don't always have to make everybody happy all the time, because that's draining as well. Because sometimes you get in the way of your own self as well. So it's good to have those little reminders.
Absolutely. Well, because there's the not dark side, there's the shadow side of strengths as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the blind spots. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool when you read your report. You know, you see yourself on paper, you see your blind spot. You're like, oh, yeah, I do that. Maybe I don't want to be doing that. So that part's kind of cool too.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really gives you an opportunity to assess how you present yourself in life. Because it's very different than astrology. It's very different than, what are some of the other ones? Oh, DISC assessment.
Mm-hmm. That's more work-centric, I feel. Whereas Clifton Strengths, you know, how you show up this way at home and at work.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty positive at home too. I try to keep the energy light and happy around my animals, even if I've had a bad day.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your oldest son. Can I ask you about the life changes that are going on with him?
I don't know. We might need tissues.
I've got some.
This is good practice. Like, I'm very excited for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to the Air Force.
What made him decide to do the Air Force, especially in 2026?
Well, he made this decision before, everything happened. But he wanted to be a trainer. And then he thought he would go in the Boise Police Department was hiring. And so he thought he would try out for that. And that didn't work out. And then just with his different background, because he does, he's into guns, he's into cars, he's into like prepping. And so he just started looking into the different military options and at what the Air Force had to offer. And so he decided to give it a go. Mm-hmm. And so he started, he's been in the delayed entry program since November.
Okay.
And so they have a really cool program where they set the kids up for success, get them trained up and ready to go. And depends on what you want to do. And they have all this sets of, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, swimming, running. And you have to pass it all in one go. Oh. And so he was very excited. So he passed last month, all the requirements. And then we didn't think he would go until a little bit later, but here we go, June 2nd. We're launching this baby bird.
Oh my goodness. Where is he going?
Well, he'll go to boot camp in Texas.
Okay.
And then after that, we don't know yet where he'll end up.
It's a big deal.
So time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And we're recording this the weekend of, I know it's BSU's graduation. And I only know that because I was trying to find an Airbnb this weekend and it was very difficult to find one. And it turns out it's because BSU has a big graduation this weekend.
Okay.
And I saw it in the downtown traffic already last night and today. So yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And I've been trying to reframe it because I heard Mel Robbins frame it as, you're not an empty nester. You're a bird launcher.
Yes, I love that. It's true. You're a bird launcher.
Yeah.
You should be very proud of yourself. You got him here.
I did.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Do you need a tissue?
I was going to say, where are these tissues we keep talking about? Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it's cool. I'm really proud of him and excited. And he's setting himself up for success.
He is. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for him too.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you sent me a story that involves photos of you. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to tell too much about it because it's your story, but in it you mentioned that you would hide or leave something out of the photo. And then when you hit your 30s, you decided to keep that in the photos.
Yeah.
Which is why we have them sitting right here.
Yeah.
So tell me about that story.
Yeah. Well, when I was little, my family I have cerebral palsy for one, so that's why I have crutches to get around. But before they would take a picture, they would always like put them off to the side. Like they didn't want them in the picture, which, I was little. I didn't know any better. I just thought that's what we did. And that's what we did. And then when I became a teenager, taking pictures with friends, they would be like, okay, you guys ready? I'm like, no, wait. We get like, take my crutches. They're like, what? Why? They were like all confused. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want them in the picture. And because I was just doing what I always did when I was little. And then, you just go, then you graduate and then you meet different friends and you got to train them up too. And so then they get used to it. Like, okay, give me your crutches. Okay, then we'll take the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know. I mean, I distinctly remember making that conscious decision to keep them in the picture, but I don't remember exactly what picture it was. But I was like, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were a part of me. I need them. It's tricky to stand there without my crutches.
I'm sure it is.
So, and then just from that day forward, I'm like, no, they're a part of me, and I just need to accept that. But it was just so ingrained into me when I was little that it took a long time to shake that. So.
I'm glad you keep them in your photos.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, and part of what you wrote too was that the little things are the big things in everyday life. What does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like a lot of things the little things people just totally pass up. Like the crutches and the photos, or even like doors. That's a big one for me. Because it's such a big thing to hold the door for somebody, in my opinion. And I just had this conversation the other morning with a gentleman that I met, and I've only met him a couple times, and I noticed it was kind of cool because I started going to these meetings, and he would always get the door. And I was like, hey, I thanked him. I'm like, thank you for grabbing the door. Because a lot of people are like, they don't know what to do. And they freeze. They're like, should I get the door? She's got the door. They second guess themselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they want to help, but they don't want to be too helpful. Like, I don't really know what's going on. But there's a lot going on, and it's just a door. Just please open the door. It doesn't matter for who it's for. Somebody who's holding a bunch of groceries. Somebody who's on crutches. But anyway, so the guy was like, yeah, I broke my leg, and doors are a pain. And so now he's always make sure to get the door for anybody on crutches. So, yeah, unless you've known somebody on crutches or been on crutches yourself, you don't realize how important opening the door is for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember you and Leanne were talking about, was it one of the first times you both met where she was watching you attempt to come through a door, and I think it was at Willow Creek?
It was at Willow Creek.
Yeah, tell me that story.
Yeah, so Leanne and I had met over COVID, so we just saw each other from the waist up. And, I don't think about it anymore. I don't think to say, hey, by the way, when you see me, I'm the lady with crutches. We just decided, it's like, oh, that's both in our neck of the woods. And so we met up at Willow Creek, and she was already sitting at a table. And, I kind of knew what she looked like, but just from Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to open the door, and it was great that somebody on the other side wanted to open the door. But when I'm already opening the door, that I'm using that door for my balance.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's going to open the door for me, then I'm going to fall forward because that door for a moment is my crutch. So, but Leanne is well-versed in all things disability. And she's like, oh no, she saw it coming. But luckily I didn't fall, all was well. I know what to do. And so that was that fun little, there's so many stories about doors.
I'm sure that there are.
There's not enough automatic buttons where you would think there would be automatic buttons. they're not. So it's just, the world needs a lot more teaching.
I agree.
So,
yeah. And some doors are very heavy to open, whether pushing or pulling. And is that, so you are also a disability consultant. What does that mean? Is it teaching people how to, like if they see someone that is in the process of opening a door and they have crutches or they're in a wheelchair, don't just go shove the door open for them, because like you said, you're using that as your crutch already.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of times when I just spend time with people and we're just out doing like regular things that you would normally do. And people are like, oh, I didn't think about this. I didn't think about that. So it's just, and a lot of times it's just showing people a different way about doing your own business. And sometimes, like, I learn too all the time. And I do have learner in my top 5. So it's cool for me to hear the questions that other people have. Like even that situation with Leanne, like I knew that was a thing, but it took even somebody explaining it to me. Like I'm the one like halfway falls through doors all the time because people are being helpful. And it just took that conversation for me to put 2 and 2 together. Or, just being mindful when you're parking, because sometimes people will park too close to me and then I can't get in the car because I need the door all the way open to get my legs in. And yeah, I could just, there's just so many different situations. Like I hate buffets. Because you have to carry
I do too, but
your
for
own.
a different reason.
I do. But there's 2 reasons. I mean, I'm a foodie. Buffets, food, I feel, are not made with love. No offense to people that have buffets out there. But then also, it's this awkward. People just are not sure what to do. Like, no, I cannot carry the plate.
No, you can't.
So, I mean, I have no problem asking, but then I can feel their energy like, well, I don't know what to do. So it's okay to ask. Like, yeah, I'm like, hey, do you want a hand with that plate? Sure. That would be great. So as far as a disability consultant, I like pointing out the little things that make a big difference in other people's lives that, you don't always think about because you take it for granted. And I even think about walking. A lot of people tell me like they get up and they go. And they don't even think about it. Like me, I have to think about it. Like I think about picking up my legs, but then I'm also thinking about all kinds of other things.
You're a human.
Yeah. So, yeah, just tons of situations like that.
So then going back to the race that you're doing this coming Saturday, it's wonderful that they let you start early now.
Well, they don't let me.
They don't
let
you.
Go.
You just do? Good.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably talk to the person who's running the race because I've done that before in Alaska. Just talk to them and see if they'll start the clock a second, for me. So my race, Bib they'll start timing it. But sometimes it's just easier just to show up, take my picture at the start line, and off we go.
Show up and go.
So just not to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. So then, since you are doing that race, and you have been training, I know you have because we've been texting about it. How do people react when they pass you on the race course? Because it's also an open course where, I mean, like I was doing, I think it was this one last year. No, I wasn't even close to the end. I thought I was. But I was running, and then we passed on the greenbelt where Payette Brewery is, and a dog ran across the greenbelt. And I saw the dog, and I was like, oh my God, where's the human? And there's a bunch of humans around me because we're all running a race. But then you see a man on the other side of the greenbelt, like looking in the opposite direction, and I know the stance of I'm looking for my dog.
Yeah.
So I stopped running to help this man find the dog. So he found a dog. It made me a bit later on the race. But all of that to say is this is not a closed course. So there are other people on the green belt. But how do people have a reaction to you as you're on the course doing your own race?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, and, you know, I do the race for myself because I do want to stay in shape, and you know, it's good to have a goal in the future. And I lucked out this winter where it was super mild. I didn't have to battle the snow or anything. But anyway, got lots of training done. But when I'm out there, people don't expect to see me.
Right.
And that's why I make sure, I want people to know that I'm doing the race. So I wear the potato shirt, and I've got my bib, and it's pretty cool. Like, it's inspiring to them to see me out there. And, that is one of the reasons, too, that I do the race, because, like, if I can do this, you can do this, too. Because, there's a bunch of people out there with beautiful legs. And it's like, you got to get out there. You got to get out there and use them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you name it, I've heard it. So it makes the race interesting, and but it's like the turtle in the hare. Like, I will eventually cross that finish line.
Let's cross it together. Well, I don't need you to wait for me.
No. Yeah, you will pass me, and you'll see me at the finish line.
And we'll eat a potato together.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes. Are you running with a partner or anything?
Yeah, my friend's going to walk with me, and I'm not sure if my younger son is going to walk as well. He has a bunch in the past, but we're going to start pretty early because we want to go while it's still cool.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I get my potato.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the fun thing for me is, like, every year somebody different will walk. So that's been neat for me because Leanne walked with me. One year, my sister came to town 2 years ago. See, I get emotional.
Can I ask why you're getting emotional that your sister came?
It was a surprise.
Oh.
So we don't get to see each other very often, but it was pretty funny. She came, I think it was like 48 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
But it was really cool. Yeah, so she bopped in and she bopped out, and we did the race together.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then other friends have done it, like, virtually. I think one year it had to have been a COVID year, but when you could sign up virtually. So I had some friends in North Carolina that ran it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really awesome.
So, yeah, so this year I have you and then my other friend, and so, and maybe somebody else might show up. So I'm slowly starting what I started in Alaska.
Yeah.
So just building that that community. I want to build strengths-based community, and just take it, no pun intended, one step at a time.
Well, and community is so important no matter who you are and what type of community you're in or that you're looking for. It is such an important aspect of life. I don't know numbers or anything, but I have heard that it is proven that you live longer when you are surrounded by friends and you are surrounded by community. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I think those people who try to build community in their own way are really bringing a gift to this world and to the people around them, because it's giving people a safe space to be themselves.
Yeah, and I feel really lucky to have met you and Leanne. You guys have kind of brought me into the fold, and so now I'm just being a little brave. I just started meeting up with Treasure Valley Givers. It's a super cool little networking group that's in town where they support each other, local businesses, and the community as well. So I can't speak too much because they haven't approved my application yet.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of them before.
Yeah. So, they just have I don't know, I love the vibe, and they're just out there supporting each other and the community.
That's awesome. What made you decide to go seek this type of group out?
Well, I'm still starting my business, and so I'm just, just taking baby steps just to get out in the community. And I have a friend who told me that they were hosting an event, and she couldn't go, and I'm like, dang it! I'm like, I have to be brave and go by myself, which I laugh. I'm like, I'm supposed to be a leadership consultant, but anyway, so I went and met. There's like a room full of people because they were hosting an event, and they're like, anybody that's interested, show up, at 8:30. And so I was like, okay, I want to see, what this is all about. And so I went to one meeting, and then as a guest, and then another lady couldn't show up the next week, so she asked if I would go in her place, and I was like, okay. So I showed up for her and myself last week.
You.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. Well, I'm sure you'll get accepted.
Yeah.
Instead of saying hope, I know you will, but I also hope you do. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. And you mentioned that you're starting your leadership business. What got you interested in that being your thing?
Because I see the difference that it makes in people's lives, and that's truly what gives me energy and what I love to do. So I just want to lean in more on that side because I do have developer as number 3. So I just naturally like to see people, see the tiny little nuggets in people and watch them grow. And I feel like I naturally do that well. So I've just been leaning into the leadership, but I've taken a lot of leadership courses in the past, and it's all coming together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that I don't have a leadership degree, but through both of my degree programs, we had classes that were all about leadership. And I just remember really soaking that information up because I also have learner. But that leadership information and how to lead is so important. And I think everybody could stand to take some leadership courses, my personal opinion.
Yes, I agree. And it's just helping people see how they show up the best for themselves.
You have another story that you had written about, or you wrote it on LinkedIn, and it's your strong woman story.
Oh, yeah. That's another fun one. That's another green belt story. While training, at the time, my younger son was he still does, but takes trumpet lessons. And so I dropped him off at the Morrison Center, and I was like, well, I've got some time to kill. I'm just going to go train because I've got a half an hour. So, and I go out, just training all the time, it feels like. But that particular time, I was out on the green belt and just walking, just doing my thing. And there's this woman and her son that were like a good bit ahead of me, but far enough where I could hear them. And the son goes, Mommy, look at that lady. And that happens all the time. And, some parents know what to do and some parents know exactly what to do. And this mom nailed it. It was so cool. She was like, yes, that is a strong woman. And I just feel like I wanted to jump up and down. I was like, oh, you were the best mom. Just like she sees what's right rather than what's wrong. So, which is huge. And that's what I try to do in my leadership style of coaching. But I never saw that woman again.
Yeah.
And speaking of the little things that make, that are big, like she has no idea the impact that comment had on my life.
And I want to add the impact that comment had on her kid's life, too.
Yes. Yeah, she's going to raise one heck of a little boy.
Yeah.
Raising kids is it's a tough goal, man.
I bet.
But it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they do things you never thought they would do.
Ooh. Good and bad, I'm sure.
Well, good and bad. Yeah. I've been lucky. They've been good kids. Yeah, my younger one just got third in state for playing his trumpet.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So,
does he think he's going to go off and play the trumpet like after school and stuff?
We'll see. He's not sure what he wants to do, but he's got a lot of time to figure it out. So
yeah.
I'm just want him to have that space to do what he wants to do.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That is very cool. That is a great accomplishment. Did you play instruments as a kid?
No. I cannot sing. I cannot play an instrument to save my life. So he soaked it all up. So I'm very proud of him.
Yeah. Did you listen to music when you were pregnant?
Not particularly. Okay. That I remember. It was a long time ago now.
Well, because I was wondering if that like got into him while he was.
Yeah, I don't know. He just picked up the trumpet, in 5th grade. Mm-hmm. All 5th graders, you have to pick an instrument. And he just, I don't know. He just really enjoyed it. And it was really tough for those kids too. Because right after that was COVID. Oh. And so a lot of them, weren't able to go to school, to get the instructions. So the kids that played their instruments throughout that whole time and pulled through, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it shows their desire to continue and their passion and their love for it. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was in elementary school, I went to school in Washington State, and it was 5th grade that we had to pick an instrument as well. And that was always interesting because if you didn't really know which one you wanted, you got to go test them all out. I knew. I actually started in 4th grade. I started playing the violin. Mm-hmm. And so I already knew what I wanted to do, and I did that all the way through junior high, but then our high school didn't have an orchestra. And you could be in the orchestra, but it was at the rival school. And so you had to bus there and then bus back. Mm-hmm. And in the busing, that meant you missed like 15 minutes of the end of 15 minutes of one class and the end of 15 minutes of another class. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't willing to give that piece up. I wanted to keep learning in whatever those classes were. So I chose not to do orchestra while I was in high school. And there's a part of me that regrets that, but I mean, it was high school, no regrets. I try not to live my life with any regrets. And so it was just, that was the choice that I made at that time. And I still have my violin. Actually, it's sitting over there as of right now. All right. And every once in a while, I'll pull it back out and I can still play it. Wow. Not as good as before. I might sound like I did in 5th grade. But yeah, it still brings me joy to pull that thing out. And even just to touch it. Mm-hmm. And to know that it's there and you're like, okay, yeah, this thing. Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, was there something in high school that brought you joy or that you think of today that you're like, yeah, that's the joy maker?
I think probably horseback riding.
Ooh.
Yeah, my friend and I each had a horse. And way back when, before you had phones and all that good stuff, and we would take off in the morning and come back sometime.
Oh my goodness.
Before dark.
I love that. Yeah. I've ridden a horse like twice. That's amazing.
So, yeah, we had so much fun, and we lived in northern Minnesota, and I had a horse, and then I ended up moving closer to her, so we were like half a mile away or something. And then eventually our horses ended up, her dad built a barn, and they stayed in the same stable. And so it was super cool. So we would just spend our summers riding horses and all the things. And So lots of good memories. Falling off.
I'm sure.
I never broke anything.
Well, that's good.
Shockingly, but yeah. But yeah, so that brought me a lot of joy.
Wow. Oh, I bet it did. That is a life I know nothing about. That is awesome. Do you think that experience shaped a bit of who you are today?
Oh, I'm sure it did. Because the old saying, you fall off, you get back up again. Or you get back on the horse, and you literally do. Figuratively and literally. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. But we're still friends today.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That is so great.
Yeah, we meet up, usually about once a year, and just like we never left.
Oh, isn't that the best?
It's really cool.
When you can be around someone and you're just picking up that conversation and that vibe and yeah, I love that. That is awesome. She should come do the race next year. Has she been here for that?
No, she hasn't. No, she did it virtually though.
Okay,
so
okay.
I'll give her credit.
Yes,
so.
That's awesome. That is very cool. You mentioned that you might want to talk about change because everybody's going through change and you're going through change with your oldest. At least that's what I know. So how do you work and maneuver through change?
I would say, change it, just identifying it and knowing how you show up for yourself now. And then you work through whatever situation you have going on. You might not be able to bring your old team or your children with you along the way, but you're still going to show up in your new life or your new situation the way you know how to best, and just really grounding yourself with that. That's what's helped me anyway, because I've gone through a ton of change. It seems like forever. As much as you want to hold on to the thing, the thing doesn't stay the same, and just kind of, embracing that mindset and letting things grow and develop naturally as they should, because if it didn't, it would be pretty boring.
This is so true. Yeah.
So
every morning I do a meditation, and part of my meditation is reminding myself that you cannot change the things that happen around you. You cannot change the things that happen to you, but you can change your actions, your reactions, and your thoughts. And so I work through that every day because change is a part of our lives in nearly every single moment. And being able to maneuver through that will help you succeed in whatever you're attempting to do.
Yeah, as I feel a lot of people resist it. And I feel like that's human nature. But being able, I feel like talking through it with somebody and meditating, I think is huge. Just to work through those processes.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about your journey and what brought you to this moment today. And it could be this moment in this chair or this moment as the Shannon that we know her today.
Wow. Okay, you didn't prep me for this
one.
No,
I did not.
On the spot. What brought me to this moment? All kinds of things, and it's been pretty cool just to think about it, and kind of like I was mentioning before, like at the time you don't know why this is happening. Like, why is Leanne dragging me to this thing at BSU? I don't know this lady. I
don't know her. I don't need to know her. It's just another person.
So, but it's funny. And it's like, as you're an adult and it's, you're in a new town, and then it's just harder to make friends. You got your work friends, and then you try to meet other people, and it's a journey. And like, it's weird, like sitting in this chair now. That's a very good question, and then it's fun to think back, because I moved here 10 years ago in April. So I love the spring now. It reminds me of, coming from Alaska and then like first day running around doing errands.
Mm-hmm.
We got sunburnt. I'm like, okay, I didn't think we had to wear sunscreen doing errands, but apparently in Idaho you do. Anyway, so just, my journey, like coming here or coming to Idaho and then getting introduced to strengths and then having that defined moment where I know that I would want to become a strengths coach was huge because I was with a former boss of mine and just giving her top 5 one day at like one of the hardest times. I don't want to speak for her, but probably in her career.
Oh.
I just gave her top 5 and just remember to lean in on those. And like the following weekend, and then she's like, did you leave me my top 5 on my monitor? And I was like, yeah, I did. And she's like, you have no idea how much that helped me get through the weekend and all of the challenges. And so that was the moment that I knew that I wanted to become a strengths coach.
Wow.
And then just showing up every day and just believing in it and just sharing it with people and then deciding like, hey, maybe I want to do this for real and do this for myself. Because I always find myself, it's easier to take care of other people than to take care of myself. But when I'm taking care of myself, I get the energy that I need to help other people. And then just seeing the light bulbs go off for people when we have conversations around strengths and or disabilities is really cool. And so now I'm sitting in this blue chair. So
I love how you said that, like each of those moments, especially with your old boss and her saying that really helped her go into that weekend. And that's how you knew that's when this is what you wanted to do. I don't know that I'm sure that there are a lot of people who can pinpoint that moment and say, okay, because of that, I know what I want to do with my life. But not everybody has that or receives that gift. And so I think that's absolutely beautiful.
And I think that's the first time I've talked about it without choking up.
Really?
Like that story used to get me every time.
Wow.
So hopefully you'll have me back on sometime and I can talk about my kids and my sister. See, without getting choked up.
Hey, choking up is good.
So,
it shows your authentic vulnerability and it makes you who you are.
Well, thanks.
Absolutely. And I love that about you. Because it really does. It makes you shine. It shows your compassion and the love and compassion that you feel from those people that you're talking about, which is also a huge, huge gift.
Well, thank you for framing it that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't always feel that way in the moment, so it's good to reaffirm.
Yeah. If someone wanted to understand their strengths and they've never taken the test, what would you tell them?
If they wanted to understand their strengths without taking the test.
Or let me rephrase that. They've never taken the test. They've been told about it a bunch of times. What would you do? What would you say to kind of sway them in the direction of you should take this test to understand what?
Oh, well, yes. So that is the biggest hurdle because a lot of people are interested and they're like, oh my gosh, another assessment test.
And I don't want to know that about myself. I'm done. I already know my disc.
Right. And I really highlight how this is different from the other ones. I share success stories and, it shows up at home and at work. And I've had so many people tell me that once I take the assessment, then they fall in love with it too. They're like, they understand themselves better. And then once they have that common knowledge, they can see somebody else's strengths, see how they show up for themselves. And they could, a lot of assumptions are made. And, so-and-so might be doing this. And once they see their strengths, they're like, oh, they're not doing that to me. That's just how they show up. So I have full disclosure to share this story because I love it. It's my favorite story. One of my favorite stories. But we were in a big team meeting, and we were all looking at our strengths as a team. And like we're a fairly new team and still kind of getting to know each other. And it was really cool. They were all embracing strengths and things were going well. And I'm sitting there looking at the strengths grid, and I start kind of chuckling. And then a colleague is like, what are you laughing about over there? And I'm like, nothing. Because it was about him. He's like, no, tell me. And I'm like, fine. So I noticed on he had command is number 3.
Oh.
And so for me, the light bulb went off because I was like, oh, now he's using his command a little too much. He's not like doing this to me. This is just how he's showing up, because I would have these Teams calls and he would be invited, but we were all having a good vibe. And then he would just jump on, say his piece, and he'd be out. And then it was like, good feeling gone. Why did you come in here and like kill my meeting? And then it happened again. And I'm like, dude, like I did not know what was happening. But in that moment when I had some time, that's where my strategic thinking, shows up. I had time to like analyze and just looking at everybody's strengths. I was like, oh, he's just coming in and just saying what he has to say, and he's done.
Peace out.
And that's him. And then, so I told him, kind of how he was showing up for all of us. And he was like, oh no, that is not what I want to be doing. He's like, he did not, recognize that that's what was happening. And so once I told him, he was, appreciated the constructive criticism back. And so it's really cool now. Like, he'll pop on the meetings, kind of hear what's going on, and then, wait for the right time to slide in what he's got to say. Right? You don't always have to come in with that command presence. There's a time and a place for it. So.
Yeah, you can really learn a lot. And while you're learning about yourself, it's what I found very beneficial when I used to work for HP, and I took it because I was involved in, I think it was a leadership group at HP. We did it there. I really liked it, and I wanted my team to do Strengths Finder. And so I presented it to my manager, somehow convinced him to say yes, and we all took it. And I don't remember the results now. I mean, I've been out of that job for a while. I don't want to do the math. It's been a while. But when we did it and everybody got their results, I was like, okay, thank you. And I'm not a strengths coach, obviously. So all I could do was just sit there and breathe and be like, okay, now I know, now I get it. And now I can understand how to respond to you when you do that to me.
Right.
It was very helpful.
And that's the other thing too, I want people to know. I mean, you had the perfect example. Like, you don't have to be the manager. You don't have to be the person in charge to want to do strengths for your team. You can lead up, and because, your manager might not know this is like a really cool thing. But a lot of people think, no, I'm not the decider to make those kind of decisions. And they just shut it down, like right there. But like in my case, like I didn't know I was going to bring it to the whole district. Like, that was cool that you asked. And I should say, like, the thing that I've learned, like, in my career, plural, a lot of my different careers, is like, just ask.
Yes.
Because all they can do is say no.
Yes.
And if you don't ask, then you'll never know. So I've got a lot of things I didn't think I would get just by asking and then being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me one of those.
I would say the different leadership courses, especially like the women in leadership, because it was not in my wheelhouse.
Oh.
Like, I do budget. that's what you do. But there were no budget courses. And so I was like, well, I would like to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, she hasn't taken any training. Like, okay. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Good. What experience most shaped the person that you are today?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's a specific experience. I think probably I would have to say my crutches,
Mm-hmm.
as much as I don't want to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it really has. Because I can't always do it the way that everybody else does it. And so I need to find different ways to do them. And one thing that I feel that I get feedback when I say is do not, or I shouldn't say me, but I think it was the way that I was raised too. Is don't focus on the disability, just focus on the task. Because we're all trying to do the same task, and I just might need to do it a little bit differently. And that takes some folks a minute, but once they realize that, they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. We can do that. And sometimes they like it even better doing it in that situation. And my oldest, he cracks me up. Well, they both do. But he's like, I think it's my arranger. Because I can fit things in and we can get it all done. And they're like, can't we just go and just do one thing? I'm like, no. Like we can do it all. And he's like, if you didn't have crutches, I could not keep up with you. And I'm like, and he tells me I'm like a 3-year-old at Costco. He's like, I leave you alone for a second and you're gone. And then he can't find me. He's like, I need to get you one of those monkey backpacks. So like, but no, I think they do. They shape who I am. And yeah, whether I like it or not.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Very true. And that puts a different spin on it, because whatever the experience might be that has shaped a person's life could be good or bad, or both. And yeah, I like what you said.
So even though positivity isn't in my top 5, I do feel like I have a positive outlook and make the best of whatever situation that I'm in.
I feel like you do too.
So.
All right. Last question. Well, before I do that one, is there anything that you want people to know about people with disabilities? Like the one thing, if you could tell the world, do this, don't do that, be kind, what would it be?
See people for who they are. Not just what's on the outside, because there's a heck of a lot more on the inside that people don't want to slow down and take the time to realize, I think.
I would agree with you. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, last question. When everything external falls away, like your title, the labels that you and other people have put on you, who are you at your core?
Who am I at my core? Well, you've all learned I'm a sensitive soul. Like, I cry at commercials. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so I think I'm very sensitive, kind, loving person. And then, yeah, I think into seeing differences are advantages. So.
I like that. Differences are advantages.
On the other one, I don't know why I'm thinking about this now, but I love the phrase to be curious rather than judgmental.
Ooh. Why do you like that?
Because people it's easy to judge why somebody's doing something. But if you're a little bit more curious, then you can understand the situation because it might not be what you think it is.
I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you too.
Yeah.
So lucky that we got to become friends.
Me too. Me too. And I can see this blossoming even further. And, well, I mean, especially since we have to fulfill your goal this year of hanging out with people more and doing more things. And then as we were it was before the Nappy Roots concert. One of the other goals that we kind of added, you, me, and Leanne as a group added was concerts.
Right.
Go to more, because, okay.
Oh, no.
Before
She's
Nappy
laughing.
Roots, how many concerts did you go to?
What did I say? One?
One.
Yeah.
And it was, what was it? Was it Dave Matthews?
It was Dave Matthews. At the Gorge.
You can't top that. So I am going to give you that. However, Shannon, we need more concerts in your life.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to keep my eyes out. I know who I want to take you to, but they're not coming to Boise, unfortunately.
Okay.
Like, I want to take you to Pink. I want to take you to Imagine Dragons. Both of those groups, well, Pink is an individual. Well, no, she has a whole team behind her. And to watch her perform, oh my God, she's amazing. And her team is amazing. And what I really, really loved was toward the end of the show, she thanks everybody on stage, which most bands do. But as she did, she would call each person out by name, whether they were a dancer or a backup singer or one of the musicians. And then that individual got to do their own special thing. So let's say they were a drummer. She would call out the drummer did his drum solo. And then she would call out this one specific dancer, and that dancer would do some massive, amazing dance move that you hadn't even seen yet on the stage.
That's really cool.
It is. And that is leadership.
Yes. To a T.
Yeah. It made me want to, 1, work for her, 2, be her, and 3, lead like her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to take you to Pink.
Okay. I'm game. Let's go.
All right. I've seen her in Vegas, which was really fun. So we'll see if we can find a Pink concert in Vegas.
Okay.
Who would you want to see?
I've been listening to Mumford and Sons again.
Ooh,
and I heard they're
good.
doing they have some pretty cool shows. I have a friend that's actually going to go see them this summer.
Oh, where at?
I don't remember.
Well, maybe
Montana,
you should try to go.
Maybe?
Oh, Montana's not far from
Not
here.
far, yeah. So we'll have to see where they're going. But, I do have another goal to share with you. Okay. Though, too. So we have music goals, we have concert goals.
Yes.
And then, if I say it out loud, then I'm going to be tied to it.
Yep.
So after this race, I have to keep myself in shape, keep walking, because I want to, it's cool, down at Zion National Park, part of a trail. I want to do the Walters Wiggles, which is a trail leading up to Angel's Landing.
I've not heard of either of those. Why do you want to do that?
Because it looks like a challenge and it looks doable. Because Walters Wiggles is just a series of switchbacks. There's like 20 of them or something. But it looks like I can do it. And that would be, Zion's amazing. And I saw it on Instagram, a long time ago. And then I was like, I think I could do that. But now I have friends.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And I have friends at Zion, and so we're gonna. So that's good because we need my friends at Zion are like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm sure." Like, but she would feel much better if we had a team.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm so in. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. I don't think I've even been to Zion's.
Oh, yeah, it's not far. It's like 10 hours, but
driving.
Driving.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, I've done
Do
it.
that in a day.
In a day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. Let's do it.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. If Frodo's still around, I'll take him
Take
too.
him. There you go. We'll never know.
Which I'm sure you heard him while we were recording. Every once in a
Yes.
while he would
So
bark.
sweet.
That poor boy. He's 14. And we're getting there. And so every time he barks, I think it's like he woke up from his nap.
Yeah.
And he's like, where's my mom? What am I doing here?
I hear somebody else talking.
Yeah.
Because I think you told me like he doesn't really like people coming in his house.
He does not.
Yeah.
I have not had anyone in my house except like, when you do your yearly heater checkup and stuff like that. So those people come in.
Right.
Dealing with my floors right now, we've had way more people in the house than I've ever had in the 6 years that I have lived there. And it's because of Frodo. Because he's like, nope, this is my house. This is my mom. These are my cats. And I need you to get the out of my house.
Well.
Yep.
He has his boundaries.
He certainly does. And I have to respect those. And so does everybody else. So this is going to sound terrible, but when Mr. Frodo passes, I think I'm going to have a party at my house. And then people can finally see my house.
There we go. And we can celebrate Frodo.
Yes. And we'll celebrate Mr. Frodo together.
Yes.
Yeah. That'll be so amazing. I thought of another question and now I can't remember. And we're already, we've been in this now for over an hour, which I absolutely love. And I don't limit us too much, but I know that everybody has a busy schedule as well, or we could sit here for 3 hours.
There's no clock. I'm like, how long have we been talking?
I know. An hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, geez. Okay. No wonder I needed a drink of water. I don't know. Do I get to ask you a question?
You can.
Okay. Well, with your business, what are you most proud of?
Ooh. I would have to say that with my business, I am most proud of the fact that I have done this by myself. In building this, I have not had a partner. And, I went to I think it was a women leadership thing for a day. And you can already see it on my face. I did not enjoy myself. There were a couple things I really got out of it, including a clarity coach who I'm going to start seeing. I saw her once already, and then we're going to start an 8-week program there in the next few days. So I got that out of it. I'm super grateful. But there was a 2-person panel like this. And one of the questions that the host asked the panelist was about building her business. She's a business owner. And she asked something along the lines of, what advice would you give to other women for building your business? And it was pretty much, don't do this without your husband. And I was like, okay. I got really offended because first of all, we can do this without a husband. We can do this without a man. We are very strong women who can do this by ourselves. And then also, not all of us might want to marry men.
True.
And it was. So yes, that is what I am most proud of, is that I have built this by myself. And other people may have family that has helped out. I have a family, obviously, but they haven't helped me build this. I did it all by myself. And I am really, really proud of that.
And I can feel that.
Yes.
I feel that energy
coming off of me.
Yes. Well, congratulations. Yeah, I love your new space. And it's just, I loved in the email that you sent me, like, you're just surrounded by love. And yeah, like I was nervous coming in here, but I felt the love and
good.
And so it's amazing. It's an amazing little place on earth.
Thank you. I agree. And you can even feel the love like coming from the neighbors because we can hear them as we're sitting here. This isn't the best place for a studio, but it works and it's beautiful. And we've really made this place come to life. But on that side of the cameras is they're called The Pit, and they are amazing people. And they do like Hawaiian Kempo, and they do Taekwondo, and then other self-defense classes. And so occasionally you'll hear this big just boom. And that's somebody throwing a medicine ball either against the wall or the floor. And then this is currently Sylvan Learning. I think I saw a sign that they're moving, but they are tutors. And so they tutor people, and I get to watch like young people and older people come in. I don't know what, to get tutoring of whatever they may need tutoring with. And you can just feel that love through the walls of these people are learning what they need to learn, and these people are learning what they need to learn and getting their workout on. And someday I'm going to join the pit because
very cool.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
When I have time.
Yeah. In between shooting things.
In between shooting things and not training for the half marathon in a week.
I know. I still can't believe that thing is next weekend.
I can't either. Do you feel ready?
Way more than I did when my sister came.
Okay.
Because I had not trained and she didn't tell me she was coming. And I was like, I didn't think I was going to do it.
Oh.
I'm like, oh crap, she's here.
Oh, I better do this.
We're doing the race.
And had she signed up already? Because I know there's a cutoff date.
Yeah, she had signed up
that girl.
in advance, and I didn't know.
Oh, that girl.
Or maybe, I'm trying to think, it was a couple. Maybe she was going to do it virtually because she had done it virtually once as well. And then, anyway, and so I was in pitiful shape. And then it's like we kept going. I finally made it, but it was a tough go. But this time, my friend and I have been walking since December.
Oh my!
Which is really good. So it's been dual purpose, because we can walk, we get our exercise, but at the same time too, we can talk and get stuff off our chest. And, so that part's been great. And then, so we walked farther this morning because there's been other life in the way. So I've missed a week for this or that. But I've been doing the rowing machine.
Good.
So I feel more prepared than usual because we laugh at work, they're like, we just can't get up off the couch anymore and just go do it. We got to actually train now.
This is so true. There's no I'm going to run a half K today
or
half marathon today. That doesn't work. Life doesn't work not in this body anymore.
No, not anymore. So now we have to do our homework. So.
Yeah.
But
do you time yourself?
Yes. Well, you have to.
Can I ask what your goal is?
I'm so terrible. Well, and I used to be faster in Alaska. Well, that was a long time. That was 10 years ago.
Altitude difference as well. Although I don't know.
Maybe not
higher,
that much.
But
yeah. Anyway, I'll be happy under 3 hours because it does take I have I don't know what my minute mile is. It's pathetic, but it's pretty funny.
Well, if your goal is under 3 hours, that's my goal as well. We will probably roll in at the same time.
So we're going to start at 7:30 or 8.
Okay. And actually, let me
But
pull
you'll
out
probably pass me 7, 8, 9, 10.
But I'm doing that half.
You're doing the half,
yeah.
though.
Yeah, it looks like our gun or alarm or whatever goes off at 8. We start at 8.
Oh, okay. So, we'll be coming in similar
We will be.
times. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll text you. When I'm in, I'll text you if I can't find you.
Yeah.
And we'll get that damn potato together.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a plan.
I love this. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's been an honor to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. And this is my first podcast.
Ooh, okay. We're going to do stuff with that for you.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to get your business out there. We're going to get your name out there. People are going to say, I want to know that woman and I want to learn from her.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
And thank you all for watching and listening. And we will be back again with another riveting episode of the Essence of You podcast.